Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. Have you started counting how many times a day you have to stop and think about that? Okay, this happened, but I can peace out. That happened, but I can peace out. I've got God's peace no matter what. I mean, it's been crazy around here. Trust me on that, right? And we're talking about ER visits, all kinds of crazy stuff, right? But all is well right now. So there's lots of opportunities. I'm trying to look at everything as an opportunity to go back and trust God and say, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you. And we're talking this week about talking to ourselves in a healthy, mentally healthy kind of way, right? So we looked at several different scriptures, and I found this one in Psalm 62 this morning. And this is a psalm by David. And it says, the title says it's a calm resolve to wait for the salvation of God, to wait for God. Now, David was a warrior. He was a good warrior. He didn't lose. He didn't die, right? He died of old age, not in a war. And so he was good, and God gave him strength, and he would pray before he went out to a battle, but he knew to wait for God to give him that direction. And there was many times he'd say, God, do I go or do I not? Sometimes God would say, yes, go. I'm giving them to your hand. Or sometimes he'd say, no, don't go. You're going to be defeated if you go. I'm not, just wait. And so he learned to rely on God for his direction. Even though he could do something, he had the physical capacity, the training, and the expertise to go to battle anytime he wanted or felt like it, right? Wanted to go take a land or something. He could do that, but he learned, even in his high position, to wait on the direction of God. And so here we have him in Psalm 62, and he's talking real generally about God being our rock, salvation. But in verse 5 of Psalm 62, he says, it's like he turns it and says to himself, my soul, wait silently for God alone. It's like he's changed the whole thing. He's like, tell my soul, because he's saying, truly my soul silently waits for God. From him comes my salvation, which those are good things to tell ourselves too. I'm telling you, read the Psalms or read the scriptures and put your name in it, right? It makes a difference when you put yourself in it, right? And he goes on and he's saying all these things, but then he turns and says, my soul. It's like myself. Hey, David. Hey, Jeannie. Hey, whoever, you point to yourself, right? Listen, wait for God. And I know that I have to remind myself sometimes to wait for God. I get ahead and make a big mess, and then I'm going to God going, help me clean this up. I don't know what I did. Yeah, I know what I did, but please help me clean it up anyway, right? But he's saying, wait. He's like my soul. He's like, David, stop, wait, be quiet for a minute. Just wait on God. We could do that too. Jeannie, just be quiet. Wait on God, right? Take a minute. And then he says, my soul, wait silently for God alone. Don't wait for anything, anybody else. For my hope or expectation is from God, not in myself. Even though he was a good warrior and a strong warrior and a well-trained warrior and probably had trained other warriors, he waited for God. He did not try to do things in his own strength. So he's like, he's like, my expectation, my hope is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. God is my defense. And these are things we can tell ourselves all day long. Hey, stop worrying. God's got your back. Stop worrying. Matter of fact, you could look at that one. Forrest Frank has a song called God's Got My Back. It's cute. Go look that one up. That's a cool song. I like Forrest Frank. Anyway, but you can tell yourself, God's got my back. God's got me. But I've got to wait on him, and just remind yourself, do it out loud if you have to. All right? Self, just wait. God's got this under control. His peace is here. His grace is here. His mercy is here. Then he goes on. He says, he only is my rock. And sometimes we have to tell ourselves, God is the rock I stand on. God is the rock I hide behind. God is the rock that is going to protect me from everything that the onslaught of the enemy is going to throw at me, right? He is my rock. God is my salvation. It's not something I did myself. I choose to trust God. You can tell yourself, trust God. He's got this. He's got you. It's okay to tell yourself that, right? He is my defense. I will not be moved. And then he goes on, and God is my salvation and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God. And it was like, then he goes back to talking to the people right after that little 3 verses there, right? Trust in him at all times, all you people. Pour out your heart before him. So it was like in the middle of the psalm, he just stopped and said, hey, soul, it's cool to just wait on God. You don't have to hurry. And boy, do I need to tell myself that every single day. You don't have to hurry. Wait on God. He's got us covered. He's our rock. He's our king. He's our protector. He's the one we run to. He gives me grace for this situation. Fill in your this situation, right? He gives me mercies. His grace didn't run out right before I got here. His mercies didn't forget to refresh overnight, not be ready for me this morning. And I'm telling you, that's a lot of work on God's part to be ready for me every morning. He's like, oh, well, she's up. Look out. Here she comes. She's waking up, right? He's got us. We can find the scripture. Use the scripture if you want to. Psalm 62 again, 5, 6, and 7. Now, use the scripture if you want to, but find the scripture. Put your name in it. Jeannie, let your soul wait silently for God alone, for your hope, Jeannie, your hope, Jeannie, your hope is in Him. Remind yourself, put your name in those scriptures. Say those things and pull out whatever scripture, there's always a scripture you could hold on to, over the storms of life, the ones that have come in my life, and I know you have your own, right? We don't even need to compare stories, but I usually have a scripture that I held on to during that time, whether it was reminding me to go back to just trust in God. My hope was in God. My strength was in God, but a scripture for that. And sometimes it fit all the time. It fit really well, but it didn't necessarily lay out my specific situation. That's okay. Be merciful unto me, oh God, be merciful unto me, because my soul trusts in you. I will stay in the shadow of your wings until these calamities are past. Psalm 57:1. That's been my life scripture for every storm. I'm sitting right here until this storm is past. I will trust God and I will trust His mercies. Grab a scripture. Hold on to a scripture. If it's provision, if it's healing, if it's strength, if it's wisdom, find a scripture and hold on to that. And don't be afraid to put your name in it. It makes it yours. It already is yours, but it does something in your brain that your brain goes, oh, it's really for me. I got it, right? So you can say, hey, Jean, God's grace is sufficient for Jeannie today. God's grace is sufficient for my situation today. God's grace is sufficient for this situation. You could name that situation. God's grace didn't run out, and He didn't unplug it, and He didn't exempt this situation. His grace is still and will always be enough for this. And that's why you can peace out. Peace out. Have a great day. See you again tomorrow.